Good day, I'm Nurbek Savitakhunov. You're watching news from Kazakhstan. These are the headlines. Kazakhstan celebrates Astana Day and President Nazarbayev's birthday with a bang. Ruh Pentil Club activist detained at the Kazakh post office while sending a greeting card to Nazarbayev. The civic activist was arrested for an attempt to hold a protest against the arrest of Jambalat Mamai. A giraffe named Astana is celebrating his second birthday in Shymkent. Zoo workers prepared a special gift in honor of the birthday girl. On Friday, Kazakhstan celebrated the birthday of the capital city Astana, along with its founder Nursultan Nazarbayev. Commemorations of the double anniversary began 4 years ago, when Parliament adopted changes to the law on holidays. Later, with the help of legislators, July 6 became a public holiday. The hero of the occasion and his 72nd birthday celebrations in the next story.
Friday morning began in the capital with the declamation of poems near the monument to Abay, the great thinker who has recently become a symbol of protests. It is thus even more ironic that this time the location was chosen for young poets praising of Astana and the president, as well as glorification of the nation's leader by more prominent public figures. Astana is considered a gift from the head of our state, built at the slope of Sararka range. People do believe this, and it is true. The capital city, just like independence of our state, is a heroic achievement of our president. I believe Astana deserves such celebration of its birthday. Starting Friday morning, the front pages of news agencies were awash with congratulatory telegrams addressed to Astana. Unlike other heads of states, Kyrgyzstan president decided to congratulate his Kazakhstan counterpart personally. But it seems that the head of the state did not appreciate the gesture of his Kyrgyzstan colleague. The main event of the day was the opening of a new mosque, Hazret Sultan. A crowd of worshippers waited for a couple of hours to see the hero of the day, but this time can be compared to years of expectations spent waiting for the end of the construction. Fires, deaths of construction workers and delays due to unknown reasons are all now in the past, while here it is, the long-awaited monument. The president, surrounded by his team, passed through the rejoicing crowd up to stage to congratulate the citizens with the holiday and to emphasize his role in the construction of two icons. I started the construction of Astana with the construction of Nur Astana Mosque to let the travelers coming from the airport be amazed with the capital of the state they came to visit. You all know the golden domes of this mosque. I decided to build this big mosque for the residents of Esil River's left bank, to let them pray here. The head of the state called the mosque the biggest in Central Asia. The mosque can suit 5,000 worshippers, covers the area of over 17,000 square meters, with a dome reaching the height of 51 meters. The mosque was named Hazret Sultan, the holiest sultan, while the first one is called Nur Astana.
The center's club activists came to the president's Almaty residence on Friday. In addition to wishing him a long and healthy life, oppositionists wished Nazarbayev an early retirement.
The activists demanded to end repressions against dissenters, the release of arrested oppositionists and social activists, and also called for all opponents of the current government to unite.
Сегодня день рождения Назарбаева, и мы хотим его поздравить с праздником. И хотим пожелать ему скорейшего ухода на пенсию. Я думаю, что страна очень устала от него.
Today is Nazarbayev's birthday, and we wanted to congratulate him and wish him a soon retirement. I believe the country has had enough of him. Therefore, by all means, we as a people need to ask him to resign, as otherwise the people will remove him by force. Political repressions in the vein of Stalin times must be left behind. Let's rise together. Everything depends on us. Wake up, Kazakh people. Stand up. Everyone should come together as one. Liberals, socialists, national patriots. Let's all rise together.
Other civic activists demanded a gift from public authorities in honor of the capital's birthday, the release of arrested journalist Jambalat Mamai. On Friday, colleagues plan to hold a one-person rally with the laying of flowers to Nazarbayev's monument inside the First President's Park. However, police officers did not appreciate the patriotic gesture.
The park is closed. The reporting crew was also not allowed in the park of the first president, which appeared to be closed on the day of his birthday. Instead of ordinary citizens, the place was full of policemen and agents in civilian clothes. The officials explained that they were looking for troublemakers. Sir, where are you going? Azamat Yezbergen said that he only wanted to lay flowers at the monument of the nation's leader. However, the police didn't allow Azamat to commit his act of patriotism, taking him to the Regional Department of Internal Affairs instead. The reporter said that he was likely detained for his t-shirt saying "Free Mamai." The police took the reporter for a long ride around Almaty but eventually released him. However, Yezbergen doesn't consider his civil action as something illegal. In my opinion, I'm a journalist, but I'm not going to get involved with politics completely. I will stick to journalism. Yet I will always display my civic position. I believe that my duty as a citizen will not affect my work as a journalist. Yezbergen believes that if the nation's leader accepts expensive gifts for his birthday, he should give people something back, for instance, the freedom to his friend.
Ruh Pentil Club activists also wanted to hand Nazarbayev a gift. However, the youth were detained at the Kazakh post office.
We've never understood why we were detained. They never charged us with anything or filed any reports. We were just sitting there and waiting, and then they just let us go. Police forced the young people into a car and took them to the police station. Salamat Amash, DSB Simbek, Sharniaz Chagatai, Muratbek Aras, Ruslan Jumabek, and Sirim Baymukhan spent almost 3 hours at the Almala District Police Department. Journalists and families were waiting for them the entire time. The action was joined by well-known public activists. Together with young people, they were planning to mail a postcard to the president's administration, but never managed to do so. This is practically a kidnapping. People left their homes and then were simply taken away and detained without any justifications or reasons. What is a detention? It is a limitation of people's rights. Anyone who is detained without a reason is just kidnapped. It is a crime, isn't it?
In the meantime, Jambalat Mamai's father, Mamai Bekujiv, was quoted as saying that no investigation is carried out at the Aktau detention center, where leader of the Ruh Pentil youth movement is being held.
On Saturday, Mamai Bekujiv returns to Almaty, but not for long. Due to holidays, the detention center in Aktau is closed for visitors. After the release of Bolat Atabayev, the father of Jambalat Mamai was granted visitation rights. For the last 2 days, Mamai Bekujiv has been freely visiting his son in the Aktau detention center, with no interference from the center's staff. Reportedly, Jambalat is feeling well and has no complaints. The only thing that worries Bekujiv is uncertainty. According to some sources, the outstanding investigation has been completed and the case against Jambalat Mamai was passed down to the court, although neither the son nor his father know when and where the trial will be held. He's in good mood and is cheerful. He is happy for Atabayev's release. However, the authorities remain silent and the investigation has not moved anywhere. No one, including the investigators, visited him. I was there for 2 days in a row, but nobody came to visit.
2 residents of Shetpe village in Mangistar region were detained by law enforcement officials. Bolat Amaniyazov and Bolat Zeilov are now in custody. They are accused of participating in the mass riots at the station in December 2011.
Radio Azatik reported that 2 young men left the village after the strike and were later declared wanted. The investigation against them is currently underway. According to the families of the arrested, young men are charged with 3 counts of obstructing the movement of public transport, organization and participation of mass riots, and violence against the authorities. Earlier, the court already reviewed the case of the riots at the Shetpe station. Out of 12 suspects, 8 were released, 4 received sentences ranging from 4 to 7 years of imprisonment, with the most severe sentence of 7 years in a maximum security prison passed to Kazhamurat Awezov.
Meanwhile, the national holiday is as tragic for Zhanaozen residents as Independence Day, when blood was shed in the square of this small oil town. Numerous relatives of those killed and injured at the hands of police officers wrote a letter to the Attorney General on the day of mass hysteria. They demand punishment for the town's ex-mayor Orakh Sarbapeyev. In their words, he is the main culprit that ignited social discord among peaceful residents and therefore must be tried according to Article 164. Up next is their story.
A celebration day in Astana is the day for memories in Zhanaozen. Dozens of local residents whose close ones were killed or injured on December 16 last year are again ready to enter the Alan Square. The people demand to change the former mayor Arak Sarbapev, saying nothing will be forgotten until Sarbapev, Yeshmanov, Aytkulov and Kusherbayev are put to jail for crimes they committed. Zhanaozen residents cite excerpts from the Prosecutor General's statement, who said that the criminal cases against Sarbapev, Yeshmanov and Aytkulov had been initiated as a part of investigation into the reasons of December 16 events. While occupying senior positions, none of the officials made any attempts to prevent bloodshed and fed the country's leadership intentionally misleading and false information about the situation in the region. So these men are not going to be accountable to the people for the 16 killed and 87 wounded. They should not think they are as white as milk or as clean as water. Why weren't they asked about this during the trial, about all the victims? Why wasn't the mayor put to jail for that? People are not allowed to gather in groups of more than 3, especially in the presence of independent media. They are afraid of persecution and so chose a house of a local resident as headquarters for the meeting. The house owner is a victim himself. His only son was killed during the December tragedy. The activists say that if Arak Sarbapev, who was directly involved in the December events, was not made accountable, then the prosecutor should be charged since he failed to prove the guilt of the former mayor. Residents of the rebellious Zhanaozen, who were placed under enormous pressure, say they went to Aktau in hopes that the judge to make a fair ruling, and trusting in prosecutor demanded 13 years for the former mayor. However, the court acquitted Sarbapev and the prosecutor did not even object to the decision, which means that he deceived the people, says the letter addressed to Prosecutor General Daulbayev. He should be imprisoned for 16 or 20 years. He shouldn't remain without a punishment. He needs to be in jail. The blood of the people will not let Sarbapev go. My child died saying, "I don't want to die, mommy." These words still haunt me. My son didn't survive. He couldn't talk when he was taken away in an ambulance as he was in agony. And then I found out that he had internal bleeding since a bullet was lodged in his spine. This 20th anniversary is marked with a mourning. We don't need this holiday now. My children will always mourn on this day of independence now. In any case, Sarbapev, Yeshmanov and Aytkulov must be made responsible before the law and the people. God is certainly on our side. So we get no support from the prosecutor, judges, authorities and the presidents. No one can do anything. Just like I open my empty house now, Sarbapev and others who organized all this should open their own houses and sit alone in the dark, just like I sit in the dark every day. The former mayor Arak Sarbapev was not available to comment on the demands of Zhanaozen residents. So far, the letter addressed to the Prosecutor General has been signed by more than 10 people, but the number of signatures will be a lot higher, the initiators assure, and warn the authorities that the situation will not calm down until all former officials responsible for the Zhanaozen tragedy are made accountable.
Victims of Zhanaozen events last December were commemorated in Almaty. 10 dissenters club activists lit candles at the Arbat on Friday.
Dissenters were planning to commemorate the victims near Abay's monument, although a big number of policemen and noise coming from the speakers forced them to relocate to Arbat. But even there, the dissenters could not escape the watchful eye of agents in plain clothes. I believe we should never forget about Zhanaozen and must talk about President Nazarbayev remembering his responsibility for Zhanaozen events, even on his birthday, especially on his birthday. We still have no answer as to who is responsible for the tragedy, and the public is demanding answers.
A tendency is observed in Kazakhstan where representatives of the titular nation are divided into kin and clans. To wit, President Nazarbayev hails from the great clan or Jews, Shapsharty. What some experts classify as tribalism, others consider a return to origins. Proponents of tribal relations see nothing shameful in that, claiming that the new trend is nothing more than a revival of neglected spiritual values and a tribute to ancestors. Their opponents are convinced that clan divisions that fascinates young people today is a remnant of the past, and the authorities that pander to it create conditions for interclan clashes.
The 25-year-old Yerbolat recently decided to openly display his tribal descent. He put a sticker to the rear window of his car which says Argun. Yet this is rather just a trendy thing to do for the young man. Yes, I respect my tribe and my ancestors. I do know a lot about the tribe of Arguns, but I can't really tell you anything. Kerey, Kypchak, Kanarat. These are not just Kazakh tribes. Nowadays, these are names used for malls, cafes and restaurants in Astana, or even simple t-shirt prints. Public demonstration of the ancestry has also reached the local music industry. Artists like Nurlan Alban, Sara Naiman or Akılbek Jemene changed their last names to tribal ones to add to the stage image. Philosopher Omar Jalel only welcomes the newfound interest. Genealogy is a genetic password of Kazakh people, he says, and to ignore it means to disrespect the spirits of ancestors. According to Jalel, in many cultures people are condemned for not remembering their ancestry. The Russians have a saying, Ivan with no tribe or origin, which means that a person with unknown parentage is considered unworthy and inferior. Therefore, older aristocratic noble families were aware of their genealogy. In fact, they were proud of it. Journalist Sanat Urnaliyev has a mixed feeling about this latest genealogy trend. It's good to know about the past, Sanat says, but the tribal identity hardly needs public display. The vivid example would be the genetic militancy of junior tribes spread across the west of the country even to this day. There is a reason why the protests are taking place primarily in the west. The oil strike began there, and now there are also shootouts with Wahhabis there. It doesn't happen anywhere in the center or the south of the country. It's another thing when tribal affiliation is regarded as a privilege for employment or promotion, which is simple tribalism and nepotism. Activist Ulan Shomshet adds that tribal preference is actually encouraged by the authorities. If a manager comes from a certain tribe, he will definitely hire his relatives first, if not direct ones, then at least those of the same tribe. Excessive interest of genealogy among youth and apparent division of tribes may result in inter-clan confrontation, which, according to experts and political scientists, is already relevant among the authority elites of Kazakhstan.
In Pavlodar, the president's name, albeit indirectly, is now associated with the swamping of a creek flowing into Irtysh River. A contractor building a Nazarbayev Intellectual School in the city is blamed for blocking the river Usolka. It was the construction workers who cut off the pond from Irtysh, almost turning into a swamp.
A month ago, the small Pavlodar River was blocked by a dam. The Irtysh feeder started to lose volume and grow marshy. When environment specialists and journalists sounded the alarm, the regional prosecutor initiated an investigation. It revealed that the river was blocked by a subcontractor building a presidential school. The company needed the dam leading into Irtysh floodplain to get soil. An administrative case was initiated against the constructor. On Friday, it was announced that the court ruled the enterprise responsible for the damage and fined it 50 monthly baseline indicators, which is about $550. If the ruling is enforced, they will be offered to execute it within a 5-day term voluntarily. If they fail to do so, court-martials will be involved. In addition, the Irtysh Environmental Protection Department is now estimating damages caused by the illegal extraction of sand, which will also be filed against this company.
The former capital of Kazakhstan, Almaty, also celebrated Astana's birthday. National festivities were held in one of the city parks.
Children performed songs to celebrate the day of Astana. The local administration organized sports competitions for kids, pavement drawing contests, and an exhibition, Astana is my favorite city. The winners were awarded certificates and memorable gifts from the district head. As usual, the celebration ended with fireworks and dances. Our young capital, which plays one of the leading roles at the international arena, represents the development not only of the city but the entire Kazakhstan in terms of economics and politics. Astana shows impressive economic growth of Kazakhstan and its potential. Of course, we are proud of the capital for being one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
For some young people, July 6 will become a triple celebration with the Day of the Capital, President's birthday, and marriage. 40 couples held ceremonies in Astana at the same time.
The young couples registered their marriage near the largest flag of the country. Officials from Astana Justice Department consider it as one of the most fantastic and interesting projects. This year the ceremony has been held for the 5th time and the number of participating couples is always growing. Gulnara Sagandikova, the head of the Registrar's Affairs, said that the future spouses have been on the waiting list to take part in the event since winter. Thus it proves that couples take a great responsibility before the society and president, as the ceremony was held on his birthday. The couples say that they deliberately chose this day to enter into marriage. We want to keep pace with Astana, grow and develop along with the city. That is the reason why we decided to get married today.
While the center of Astana was celebrating in full swing on Friday, the suburbs of the city remained calm with less billboards and quieter music. People are engaged with their daily routine, while for some the celebration day is just another ordinary workday.
The celebration of President's birthday and the day of the capital started differently for Astana residents. Some of them were deciding where to go for the celebration, others went to work since early morning, including hundreds of policemen patrolling the streets or cleaners who will be on duty until late night, making sure said streets remain clean and tidy. For them the holiday is just another working day. There is no time for celebrations. We're not locals, we're from the village, here just for work. We're brought here in the morning and in the evening the bus takes us back home. City's birthday is a good time for people to get a bit extra. One of the ways to make money on the holiday hype is to sell tickets to numerous concerts held all over the city. These dealers are comfortably and openly sell tickets right next to the Congress Hall box office. They obviously don't like the appearance of the reporting crew but are not even considering leaving the premise. In the meantime, no regular tickets at normal prices are left in the box office. Only expensive seats are left. For instance, how about a $100 ticket for a show of a local pop band Mozart? Despite this, there are plenty of regular seats left in the house, but the dealers charge $13 extra for every ticket they sell at the door. But it costs much less than now. You're all just profiteers. Food prices were another disappointment for city residents. A small dish of pilaf, a national dish made of rice and meats, cost $5 in one of the central city locations, not far from Khan Shatyr. It is very high price for a tiny plate. Hungry visitors say retired people living on $200 per month simply can't afford it. The city administration is to blame for this, turning a blind eye to the obvious illegal activity. Why is it happening? Why doesn't city administration do anything to control the prices? They should be regulated to make people satisfied. Everyone is outraged by this. In the meantime, many Astana residents prefer to engage in house chores instead of noisy celebrations. Some people spend the capital's and president's birthdays working in the house garden. Raskul Samenova is one of them. Her small summer cottage is located in the vicinity of an ethnic village. Nevertheless, celebrations, noise and loud music did not disturb her. Raskul, together with her neighbors, used the day off to weed out her garden and clean the house. After all, she can still watch holiday fireworks right from her garden.
A giraffe named Astana from Shymkent turns 2. The namesake of the capital from southern Kazakhstan was born on July 6, 2010.
In honor of his birthday, the zoo workers organized a big celebration and even prepared a special treat for the giraffe. They used 15 kilos of fruit to bake a big cake, although the giraffe named Astana refused to eat it. The holiday guests had a chance to write down their congratulations and best wishes to the giraffe on the banner, which was hung near the cage. Astana was brought here from the Almaty Zoo last year, so it was the animal's first birthday in the Shymkent Zoo.
This is all we have time for now. Don't forget to watch Vlast KZ on Monday. Have a great weekend.